Maybe this time around. I don't know, folks, something wonky's going on. Maybe this time around 1 by 3. That's pretty accurate, Danny. Sorry about that. I don't know what's going on. Everything's hooked up correctly. I double checked it. I felt like I should do that thumbnail art. Sometimes you'll see creators do take 2, take 3, and all this stuff, but, I don't know. Who knows? Most of the people probably won't find the stream again, but it's okay. The message remains the same. Always Survive says, "Wow." This is what we deal with over here. Again, getting back to the original message, if you hate censorship, be sure you are subscribed to this channel. You might think you're subscribed over here, but oh no, you may not be, as I've heard in the past from many people. They like to unsub you over here. They don't want sharing it out, whatever. Slow chat should be on, man. Who knows? Let me double check here. Yeah, it kind of gets old with the whole YouTube hassle. Um, Let me do this. I've come to expect it, and it is what it is. Slow chat is definitely on now. I just triple checked. It's jumping this morning, Paradise Acres. So sorry about that interruption. I'll go into this video and I'll retitle it and stuff like that and make it look more official. But just to recap, yesterday, um, I got that awesome I shouldn't say it because they might do something to the stream again, but, yeah, I thought it was pretty accurate. Putin cherry picks the truth, NATO sweeps it under the rug, and that's to me, that's very, very accurate. So, anyway, backup channels linked down below. That's good to know right now, okay? So, there's gonna be a video dropping over there later. Let's talk about fantasy versus reality. We went over the poll. So, I'm gonna tell y'all what my biggest pet peeve is when it comes to prepping, especially here in the YouTube community. Um, what do y'all think it is? Everybody's got a pet peeve. My wife is, "Hey, John, you left your freaking shoes in the living room floor. What are you doing? I almost tripped and fell." Miss Z, and toys, the kids leave toys in there. Mine is the word hoarding. I cannot stand the term hoarding, and it gets used a lot, um, in video titles and things like that here in the prepping community, and I know why people do it. I just don't know how they sleep at night. They know exactly what they're doing because when you drop the title, in your video title, "Hoarding," oh my god, hoarding. This gives a sense of emergency, and it kind of alerts people and it gets people on the edge of their couch, makes them very anxious. And then, 5 items you should be hoarding right now as a prepper, 10 things you need to hoard right now before they're gone, this sort of stuff. And again, it gets under my skin. Don't be lazy. At least call it stockpiling because when you use the term hoarding, all you're doing is feeding into the stereotypes of preppers that we're crazy, that we just stack stuff in corners and we're hoarders. People think preppers equals hoarders. So by using this in thumbnail art and stuff like this, you're just fueling that fire. So again, if you're one of these creators, and there are many, I don't even know the names of people that do this, but you know that preppers shouldn't be hoarding. You know what you're doing. Just rephrase it. Take 2 more seconds, put a little extra wrench time in there because you make people like me and people in this chat look bad when you're lazy and you're trying to clickbait and you're using the term hoarding, okay? So anyway, I'm gonna give you a perfect analogy because I'm a twisted individual in this way. I love analogies. They make me warm and fuzzy just like seeing FJB. So here's a perfect analogy, and I don't know if Scottish McBean is in here or not, but hopefully he sees this later on because he's into fitness and stuff like this. And the perfect analogy is a crash diet. A crash diet, these things don't work. Crash diets, folks, they don't work. Um, you want to lose 150 pounds in 2 weeks because you're worried about that beach body, Chewbacca. These sort of crash. There he is. He's in here. So crash diets don't work. And the reason I think crash diets don't work is because people's mindset doesn't ever change. They think, rather than changing the way they live, the way they eat, the way they shop and stuff, they think, "Hey, I'll just spend $300 on these magic fat burning pills, and I'll take these fat burning pills, and this will solve the problem." And it's probably never gonna solve the problem. All right? It In order to get into shape, it takes a lifestyle change. You have to start eating properly every single day. You have to cut out certain things like certain breads, sodas, things like this. You have to get in the mindset where you wanna exercise so long every single day, and it's a long-term thing. This is hoarding versus prepping. Hoarding is just throwing a bunch of stuff in a corner somewhere and saying, "Hey, son, it's fantasy. Hey, son, I'm covered. I hoarded a bunch of stuff up like a squirrel over here." You're not a squirrel. You're a beaverine, son. And beaverines don't hoard stuff. All right. It is a mindset change. Yeah, consistency, prepping outside the box. Exactly. And everybody is turned on by a different event. We got people in here from Y2K, and that was the event that turned it on for 'em. Maybe it was 9/11. Maybe it was the pandemic. God bless you. Maybe it was Pearl Harbor and you're still up in here from Pearl Harbor. Like, I ain't never going to stop prepping. Maybe it was a significant weather event. You got caught without bottled water. You didn't know what you were going to do. And you said never again. And your mindset changes at that point, and you start to think differently, and the process begins. So I just think it's cheap and it's scammy and it's clickbaity, and it's kind of a cop out to use the term hoarding. Again, at least use stockpiling. It sounds better on the community. So that's my biggest pet peeve, and I think that's the difference between fantasy and reality. But we're gonna go over some beaver soup. I can't unsee that. Red Doomer, how dare you? Um, there's some more. All right, and we're gonna talk about the fantasy versus reality here. Probably one of the most common comments, that's hard to say in the morning, you get tongue-tied, son, that I see in this community, in our community, whatever page I happen to be or live stream I'm lurking on, is the comment that people just won't listen. You've tried to wake people up, you've tried to wake family up, you've tried to wake your spouse up to prepping. My kids think, kids think I'm crazy for prepping and all this stuff. My friends think I'm nuts for all of this stuff. And it's because you have to introduce people slowly. I get why people moist common comment. Yeah, I actually meant to say most common. If I misspoke, Oklahoma Jim, but there's another one I cannot unsee here on Hump Day. I done lost my train of thought and everything. Good Lord, man. So you have to introduce people slowly to the concept of prepping. All right. Do I think that 9/11 was a false flag? Absolutely. Am I going to lead with that when I'm trying to get somebody to prep for the first time? No. I'm not gonna say, "You need to be prepping because 9/11 was a false flag and all of these labs are set up in Ukraine," on down the line. You don't wanna lead with this kinda stuff, alright? You don't wanna lead with, "Hey, you should be prepping because there are 2 planes circling in Utah in a weird way, and I've been tracking them for 17 days, and it's just not making sense." It may not be making sense to you, but you don't wanna introduce people in that way because they're not gonna see it the same way that you do, especially, again, getting back to the whole hoarding. What if somebody's interested in prepping for the very first time? And they jump on YouTube because that's where everybody jumps on, YouTube. Let's go find out about it. And they start to see hoarding. It just reinforces the fact that they think people are crazy that prep and that they're hoarders and things like this. So it matters, guys. Um, I will hear people talk about um, a post nuke world. I got my radiation meds and I've got my plastic sheeting and I've got concrete block downstairs and I made myself a shelter that I can't turn around in, but I'm gonna survive nukes, and that's great, but that's fantasy because the reality is then what? What are you gonna do when you come out of that shelter? You gonna grow your own food in a post-apocalyptic world? Do you really want to live in a world like that to begin with? I mean, really. I enjoy watching movies about this kind of stuff and documentaries and stuff like this. Well, Sally's saying gardens, but the thing is, if you're affected to the point where you have to go into a shelter like that, you probably ain't growing stuff for a while unless you're doing it indoor. Now, the setups are out there, but most people aren't grounded in that reality. They think that, they're gonna survive a nuke strike. They're coming out 2 days later, and they're gonna go to Walmart, and they're gonna power shop and get everything that they need, and that's just not the reality. The Walking Dead, great TV show. I'm not sitting up here saying that that'll never happen. Anything's possible, but I'm sitting here thinking to myself, "What are the chances?" I know a guy. There are people that prep for that scenario. That's their long-term goal. Zombies are coming, son. I'm prepped for it. I'm gonna be the next Rick Grimes or something like this. And I'm like, I'm not saying that's not going to happen. It's fun to watch on TV. But what are the odds that we end up living in a world that looks like The Walking Dead, where everything is just total societal collapse at that point, okay? That's not the reality. The reality is a year from now, your food is gonna cost twice as much. That's what you need to be prepping for. The reality is if you're buying $600 worth of groceries next month, at one time, it's going to pull eyeballs your way. That's the reality, and it's gonna put you in a dangerous situation. Negan, yeah, I mean, I like Negan Warlord, I do, and I think that they're gonna be there's gonna come a time when there are Negans out there, but I don't think most people are prepared for that. A lot of people are like, I've got a makeshift bunker. I'm gonna survive nukes, and then Imma live like I'm in The Walking Dead, and then their form of self-defense is a butterfly knife. You know what I'm saying? No, that's not being grounded in reality. I know you got more than that, but I'm just saying. The reality is tie time. Oh god. Speaking of reality, I'm sorry, y'all, but, I still think Alabama's a dynasty, therefore I know Bama Jen's in the chat. Therefore, I'm wearing the Alabama tie for you. Sort of. I mean, I'm wearing it in a sloppy fashion here. The reality is most people are not and will never be prepared for a world like that anyway, mentally. Most people don't have the mental fortitude. I'll give you another perfect example. All right. I see other channels. I know they're taking shots at the old Beaverine over here. He sits behind his desk and they're triggered. You can tell in the video they can't stand the fact that this community is thriving. And I'm sitting at a desk and I'm like, man, if you are triggered now during a total collapse mentally, you ain't gonna make it. I love this desk. The thing is, y'all will hear me sometimes. We're getting a weather event. I'll apologize. I'll say, the grid might be down for a day or two. But you can go back, you can watch these videos. I'm not nervous because I know we have everything we need because it's been a slow process and I've handled and I'm not saying my plan is perfect, but I feel really good about where we're at. Plus, if you sit here and you sniff, you kind of get hints of cherry wood and Folgers coffee together. I mean, it's an excellent experience. I should rent this experience out, but I won't. It is, if people get triggered by other stuff that they see on YouTube, which I know sounds weird, but again, I don't like the term hoarding. I just think it takes away from everybody, but I'm not picking on any creators in particular, but if I trigger you as a creator by the way that I present things, and I really hurt your feelings this deeply, you're not gonna make it. I don't care what skills you know, son. Mentally, you're not gonna make it out there, and that's the reality of it. Most people aren't gonna be able to make it. To play off of the back a little bit of yesterday's conversation that we had, we were talking about a peaceful divorce, versus just a straight up bloody national divorce. Um, and a lot of people were asking, and I understand why, rightfully so. They were saying, "How's this going to affect my SSI, how's this going to affect? Some people were asking about EBT. Will EBT still work? Well, you gotta ground yourself in reality. If we have a national divorce, that's gonna be the least of your concerns, okay? Paying your electric bill is gonna be the least of your concerns because the power lines ain't gonna be there anymore. Your main concern at that point is to protect what you have in a grid down situation. Um, you're talking about a situation, if you're lucky, you're only gonna see martial law, you're only gonna see curfews, you're only gonna see people, uh whether they be National Guardsmen or police officers or whatever, putting a gun in your face telling you to get back in your home at 6 o'clock or else. And that's if you're lucky. That's if people aren't storming into your house taking your stuff. That's the reality. Um, so you're not gonna have to worry about benefits and things like this. No, you're not gonna get that stuff. It's gonna be over for all of these programs, but you're gonna have bigger concerns. I mean, you're literally gonna have family members against family members at that point. You're gonna see stuff out in the streets you never thought possible, and that's the reality of it. So, another one that I will mention is when I see the term "back to normal." I can't wait to get back to normal. I still hear people say this, not necessarily in the prepping community. Most preppers have figured this out, but I'm talking about the normies out here. I can't wait for America to get back to normal. Um, that statement's not grounded in reality. That's fantasy land stuff. The days of normal have been gone for a while. I'm still seeing videos popping up saying we're getting ready to go to World War III. We're entering World War III, and I'm like, that's fantasy stuff because the reality is we've been in it for over a year now, officially, and it ain't going anywhere anytime soon. So I just want to say preppers get a bad rap. Um, I mean, they really do. The stereotypes and stuff like this, preppers do get a bad rap, and I understand it sometimes. When you have people. Again, I'm not saying UFOs aren't real or whatever. I think they're fallen angels, but you get the point. I think at some point they're gonna be introduced. I'm like most of y'all. I do believe that, but you can't start a conversation with that. You can't go to a normie and say, "Hey, you need to start prepping because the UFOs are coming and stuff." They're not gonna take you seriously. So maybe sit down and make a list. Seriously, take 10 minutes, sit down and make a list of most likely scenarios to least likely scenarios. Dome Seeker, aka Paw Patrol, what's going on? Um, welcome. So, most likely to least likely, and key in on the most likely stuff first. Make sure you're prepped for that stuff. Weather events, that's the most likely thing that's going to happen because it happens every year. Doesn't matter what the season is. It could be a blizzard, it could be a thunderstorm during the summer, it could be a hurricane, depending on where you live, okay? Um, inflation, food inflation, prices of food and stuff, that's a most likely scenario. Grid down, a most likely scenario because it happens from time to time. Good morning, May man. How are you doing? And then just work your way on back to the zombies and things like this. Again, I'm not saying that's not ever gonna happen, I don't know, but that's a least likely scenario. And this way, when you're talking to somebody, be it a family member, a friend, or whatever, and they're interested in prepping, you can start with the most likely stuff. You can say, "Look, son, this is what a can of pinto beans cost in 2018. This is what it costs now. You can save money by prepping." If you talk to people in such a way that you're grounded in reality, they're gonna take you seriously, okay? If you take the prepping seriously and you're not hoarding, you're not out here hoarding and all this stuff, if you take it seriously and you have an adult conversation about it, people are gonna take you seriously, okay? If you tell people grid downs happen and you need to have this and this and this, or you need to try and prepare in this way and that way, they're gonna take you a lot more seriously than if you start with, "We had 2 random planes circling out in Northern California. Something's up. Something's up, dude. Something's up. You better start hoarding in the corner over there." I mean, let's call a spade a spade. Some people are crazy. Some people are nuts. I've had those emails. I've seen those comments, and God bless you. I'm not putting you down for it. I'm just saying you're not gonna be able to talk sense to anybody until you ground yourself in reality a little bit. And, you're also less likely to be taken advantage of on YouTube. It's your money. I don't care what you do with it. Spend it as you will. Um, but don't let people take advantage of you. You know what I'm saying? Don't let them lead with fear porn and hoarding and clickbaiting and say, "You better hoard survival food right now. You've got 3 days." And hey, son, you don't even have to go to the store because I've got all the Amazon affiliate links down below. Understand, at some point, understand that there's a hustle involved. And there's nothing wrong with making money on YouTube, okay? People should be allowed to do that. It's hard work. Just don't be sleazy about it. Understand that the people that are watching and listening, a lot of them trust you and they trust that you're not being sleazy, okay? And when you tell them something's good, it's because you actually know it's something's good and that you're not making 10% of commissions, okay? This is what I try to do anyway, when I can get the camera to stop flashing. Let's jump into chat. Who's in the house this morning? Max Havoc's here, Robin's here, Patriots Pride's here. I don't know about this Alabama tie, Bam. It's crawling up my neck. It's crawling up my neck. It's choking me, kinda like they choke in the big games the last couple of years. Paradise Acres, what's going on? Red Dog, what's up? Talon, what's going on? Chewbacca. I did not like that goodnight message, Chewbacca. How dare you? Steph L. Dana, how are you doing? I saw it a few minutes after I got in there. Quinn's in the house. Good morning with the Shamrocks. Pilgrim, what's up? Jessica G, I see that. Thank you very much. I thought I lost everything too earlier. It's crazy. Grace Hill Granny is here. Teresa, good morning. Bernard, prepping to survive. Melissa Lynn, good morning. Good morning to everybody. What do y'all have? What do y'all want to chat about for a little while? Assuming YouTube doesn't pull the string. Kadrinka, good morning. Art Nanny, excellent comment. Excellent comment. And thank you for the support for 20 months. All right. So this is important. All right, folks. She's been supporting the channel for 20 months, and she's going to use this 20-month achievement to tell y'all how to improve your prepping. And this is very good advice. Turn your water off at home for 2 days and see how much water you use. And I would just add not only how much you use, but how much convenience is gone. How hard it is to do certain things like dishes. If you do that, again, that's great advice. If you do that for a couple of days, I promise you, paper plates, plastic forks and spoons and cups, they're going to be on your next prepping list. Go out and buy that stuff because dishes suck during times like that. And also, you can do this with the power. Just don't tell the family. My kids would go ballistic if they found out, but go kill the breaker for a couple of days. Tell them, say, I don't know. It's not like your spouse can call the power company anyway and get anybody on the phone. It's all automated. So, yeah, it takes 4 bottles of water to make coffee. Yeah, it depends on how much coffee you're drinking for sure. Um, but yeah, the power, the same thing. See how your family reacts to going without water, going without power. I'm gonna get some hate emails. Don't you dare ever tell my wife to turn the power off on me, son. I miss WWE wrestling for you. YouTube censorship is bad today, Bamagen says. It is. It's again, it's nonstop. Um, it's nonstop. It's every day. It's always something. Something's always glitching. Something's always not working. People are always getting thrown off a cliff, and they don't know that that's happened to them. Patriots Pride. Do we need gas masks? What about for the kids? So, um, I mean, maybe eventually. I don't know that I would rush right out and get them. I don't think it's gonna be right now, the level with you, gas masks have went up substantially in price, and the main reason for that is people rushed right out, and they saw these clickbait titles, they rushed right out, and they started hoarding the stuff up. You don't need to drop more than $200. per mask, okay? Um, maybe as you can afford it, maybe 1 month buy a mask, the next month buy another one, but don't clear out the bank for it. Because I don't think here if you're in the United States, I don't think that's something you're gonna have to worry about anytime soon. Um, I'm not saying it would never happen, but anytime soon. I saw that Quinn, the YouTube CEO, stepped down as soon as Congress announced they were investigating all big tech. Hopefully, something gets done about it. It's not like we're asking for a ton over here, you know? We're asking just to have conversation. It's not like I'm sitting here saying, "Hey, son," either. Yeah, Michael G says if you have a surplus store nearby, sometimes you get masks there for cheap. They may be a little bit older, but, they're new, so scoop them up at a discount. Free speech, that's all we're asking for, Dirt Track, and, I put this on the poll today because I got this comment yesterday. Somebody typed, of course, it was in all caps, "Y'all ain't nothing but a bunch of YouTube warriors chatting, keyboard warrior chatting," or something, and then there's, like, 15 exclamation marks, and I looked at this comment, and I'm like, "My guy, it's YouTube." I don't know how else, without a keyboard or a camera and a microphone, how else we communicate over here. Telepathy, maybe. I don't know much about that. What do you want us to do? Do you want us to get the 12 gauge and shoot the TV? That'll show them. That'll show them you're really tough. Go outside and set the barn on fire. That'll show everybody. I mean, it's YouTube. Of course, people are chatting back and forth with keyboards. It is what it is. It's kind of like you use the platform, people are gonna be using keyboards. I don't think that people in here are keyboard warriors. I think most of them mean what they say. It's just that they have to use keyboards to communicate this back and forth. Again, but I mean, it could be telepathy. I don't know much about that. I try and stay in my lane on that one, son. Prepping in Bama. Oh, man. John, you look better in that beautiful tie. Um, I almost went with Georgia, and sometime soon, just a heads up, I am gonna go with Georgia. I read your mind. You are thinking. I'm always thinking FJB. Um, yeah, I mean, prepping outside the box is humorous how some people say keyboard warriors. I mean, they literally typed it with the keyboard. That's the ironic part, brother. And then I'm thinking, are you typing this from the front lines of Ukraine? What's going on here? Because I think they were talking about the Russia versus Ukraine. I'm like, man, look, go sign up for Ukraine. They'll take you with open arms. They take international soldiers, man. Strap up and go. You know, hey, if you do, email me. My guy, whoever left that comment yesterday, the Beaver Eats will send you a care package. I'll chip in on that. We'll send you a care package to Ukraine if that's what you want to do. But I don't know how it works, Teresa, but, as far as YouTube, man, there's just certain things we can't say over here, or suits show up at the door and the stream gets taken down, like, people need to understand this. We do have to watch what we say sometimes over here, just because I'm not on here saying grab muskets and go to DC. Legally, I can never say that. YouTube or otherwise. Doesn't mean I'm not thinking it sometimes, but I just can't say it. And I don't know if people understand that. Um, I tell you what, grandbaby's La Rosa, 11 months. Thank you very much. Where do you get a $200 mask? I will check my email today. Let me put it in here real quick if I can type it out. And if you can email me to remind me, I will get you a list of places. Um, The filters, the replacement filters are really hard to find in some cases, just so you know. She's a wildflower. Thank you very much. But, as Michael G was saying earlier, if you have a military surplus shop nearby, I would try there first. If not, you can order these things online, but again, they're moving out the door. Every time somebody that's got 500, 600,000 subscribers on YouTube starts talking about nukes, certain things start flying off the shelves. Um, and that's the business. You know what I mean? I get these offers too from companies. I keep getting them from Magic Spoon. It's a cereal company, something to do with the cereal company, and I'm like, I ain't trying to be rude. You know, they say, "We watch the stream, we love your stream, you know, are you willing to sell the product for 12%?" I'm like, "It's cereal. How am I supposed to get up here and sell cereal on a prepping channel? You know, good luck, but I'm not interested in that. Are you kidding me?" Jordan, you think we might have a nuclear war nuclear war? Um, Last year, I would have said there was a 1% chance. Now there's probably a 20-25% chance that we would. Um, I think it would be in certain regions, though. I don't think the entire US is not getting hit the way I'm looking at it right now, with nukes. Now, this could be if there's gonna be a nuke deployed, it's gonna be a regional thing, and I think it would be in Europe, right as of right now, but the threat is there. Kelly, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, YouTube, sometimes they just won't do it. They will not. No. How dare you? Carl Miller, how dare you on hump day? Caveman James swimsuit calendars. You done lost your mind. You done lost your mind. Cereal is animal food, not human food. It's just Paradise Acres, some of the offers I get, you know, I mean, again, I do battle box and only battle box, and I approach them. It wasn't like they approached me and said, "Hey, son, start selling our stuff." I like their stuff. And let me take this hat off because I don't want anybody to say, "Oh, he's plugging battle box or anything." But some of the stuff I get in the boxes are junk, and I wouldn't buy 'em. And then some of the stuff I get in the boxes are pretty daggone cool, and I think they're worth it. And occasionally, I'll stumble upon something like I like the, survival tabs. They're a little costly, but I like them. And so sometimes I'll talk about them on here and drop a link, but it's not like I'm working for them or anything. I actually have used them. Um, Sometimes I get hangry in the car if I haven't eaten in a while. You know, my wife's got me out shopping and stuff like this. You're not blocked, D's, you're not blocked. I can see it. Um, and so we have these, we have a bag that we carry in the vehicles just in case we get stranded. And every so often I'll grab a couple of those survival tabs and eat them, and I'm not hungry. And I can finish getting dragged through women's clothing stores and stuff. And I'm a lot nicer at that. I try Paradise Acres. I try. I did a review. Now it's been a year, probably 2 years ago, of the Four Patriots solar kettle, and yeah, they ain't emailing me anymore because I just said, this thing's junk. I tried to review it. I paid $100 for it. I tried to review it, and it broke. The plastic literally broke on me during the first use, and I'm outside throwing it through the yard. I'm like, this is crap. I've heard good things about the food, but I'm not buying any more of their gear. When I got the solar blocks and stuff, I avoided Four Patriots because of that. I hate to put them on blast. I'm sure it's a great company, but it was trash. The stuff they sent over. Um, when it comes to Independent Marine, what's going on, brother? When it comes to wanting to invest in a gas mask, you better be investing in a crossbow instead. Crossbows are awesome. You got to practice with them. I'm still not really, really good with the ones we have. But the thing is you can practice over and over and you're not burning through ammo. So I do like that part about it. And it's a good option for some people that aren't allowed to own firearms, because the government says, "Hey, son, you can't own them anymore." So it is a good option. Some of them are expensive though, man. Mira safety for gas masks. Um, I promise you, Mr. Street, somebody in here does. Question, I have Baofeng radios. Do you have any ham radios? I do not. I promise you there are people in chat that do and love them. And that is one of the top 3 or 4 brands. Worminati, yes, you are allowed to be here. I guess that's what you're talking about. I'm a serial killer. I got you, Romans, yeah. I don't eat much of it. I'll eat oatmeal every so often, but I don't eat much breakfast. That's the meal that I've learn to live without. I've been on 2 meals a day for a while, and it's not because we don't have the food. I'm just trying to I've weaned myself to the point where I'm used to only 2 meals a day. Um, when the world goes to crap, who will worry about ham radio licenses? Nobody. Nobody with any kind of sense, at least. I would be more worried about being found in using a radio by people that have nefarious, things in mind, would be the way to put it. Speedy Rider, what do you think about what's happening in Ohio, John? I think it's ridiculous. I mean, I'm trying to keep it PG-13 here, but, I think this is the perfect example of why diversity hires don't work. Mayor Pete is there as the transportation secretary because he's gay. I'm telling you straight up, that's the reason the guy's in charge, and not because he's qualified. And when you put people, I don't care what color or religion or how anybody identifies sexually, I could care less, to be honest with you. I do my own thing, but when you put somebody there specifically because of one of those reasons and not because they're qualified, stuff like this happens. And the fact that he didn't address it for so long to boot, and the fact that we are helping people in Ukraine and not people in Ohio, it's a travesty. Um, the way I look at it, and I don't fly, but I'm just using this example. When I get on a if speaking of fantasy, because I'm not ever getting on a plane, but if I get on a plane, I'm not getting on a plane thinking, does the crew, are they diverse enough? What's the sexual identity of the pilot? What race is the pilot? What religion is I'm not thinking about this. The only thing I care about is, can the pilot get me from point A to point B without crashing? That's literally all I care about. Are you competent at your job? Please tell me yes as I'm getting on this, as my wife's dragging me onto this plane, kicking and screaming. Can you fly the plane? That's it. That's literally all I care about. And the problem with Biden's cabinet, most of them, they're not qualified. The White House speaker, I wouldn't let her speak at a moose lodge. This lady has no idea. She is so far over her head that it's not even funny. I'm not attacking the lady personally. I'm saying she's not qualified as a public speaker. She has no idea what's going on, and she still has her job. Kamala Harris, she is not qualified to be vice president of the United States of America. She's just not. Anytime she is asked a real question, here come the word salad. She's throwing lettuce in, she's throwing radishes in, she's smiling, she's dancing in her Chuck Taylors, she's misdirecting over here and talking about crayons and stuff like this. It's obvious this lady is in over her head. And again, you can go down Biden's cabinet, nobody seems to have any clue. The military leadership, General Milley, if you're watching, you're unqualified to lead. I respect the fact that the military service and stuff like this, you're not a qualified leader. You're not somebody I would follow into battle. I'll follow Warlord. I know he knows what's going on. I'll go in with dynamite and Chewbacca, but I'm not following General Mark Milley in because he has no idea what's going on. He doesn't seem to grasp it from a military standpoint. He's in way over his head, and this is an issue. Yeah, and he's a traitor to boot. You gotta worry about the dude stabbing you in the back after you get your marching orders. But, he's just not qualified, he's not fit to lead, and this all comes down to Joe Biden. Is Joe Biden fit to lead? I don't think so. I think when you go to Ukraine to rally the people, of the 51st state, unofficial 51st state, and they have to use, for anybody that hasn't seen it, they used colored, chalk to draw outlines where Biden needs to stand as he's speaking and as he's doing photo ops. If you have a president that is relying on colored footprints on the ground to know where to stand, he's probably unqualified, to lead this country, and It is what it is. So anyway, that's what yeah, I'll follow you, Dynamite, as long as you're healing me. That's what I think on, Ohio. It's just it's pitiful what's going on. I think and to boot, I think it's probably done on purpose. You know, now the government has stepped in, and now they're saying that Norfolk Southern they're demanding that I'm sorry, I didn't mean to assault keyboard anybody, Patriots pride. Um, now they're stepping in, now they're telling the train company, "Now you have to pay for everything," but the real injustice here, nobody would have even known about this if people weren't making such a big deal about it on social media. You know, it started on Twitter. Nobody was talking about this. These people had been left to their fate, and enough interest got generated on Twitter, and then it moved to YouTube, and then a little bit of mainstream media coverage, and then eventually Mayor Pete had to go. He didn't really wanna go, he had to go, to see what was going on, and then, he gets down there and he said, and I'm paraphrasing, "Well, it's on me, I could have been here sooner." No kidding. No kidding, man. No kidding. You got one job, and that's to make sure the transportation works. And ever since he's been there, we've had landlocks at the ports and stuff, the California ports. We have trains going down all over the place. It's on you, dude. If you're gonna take the job and you're gonna take the paycheck, Michigan, there you go, prepping outside the box. If you're gonna collect the paycheck, man, do the job. BB, I appreciate that. My coffee's getting cold. No, Sherry, they don't really care about Ohio because it's Trump country. And Trump mentioned going to Ohio and being with these people and at least caring enough to go, politically motivated or otherwise. He's like, "Nobody's going, I'm going, these people voted for me." And then all of a sudden now Biden and his administration, now they're interested because they don't wanna give Trump a political win, and it's sad, man. Is that an AR keyboard, John? I can't even afford that, McBean. A real AR or an AR keyboard? Um, yeah, that's Slee Stack. First of all, I gotta ask you, Slee Stack, is that name off of the original Lost in Space? Or did I dream that? Didn't they have Slee Stacks or something? But second, you're right. They don't care about any of us. They're elites. They're above us. They look down on us. Semi-auto keyboard, yeah, it doesn't matter. It's a weapon of war, Lord Eagle. It eventually this will be taken away from us too. Land of the Lost, thank y'all. Oh, it wasn't Lost in Space, it was Land of the Lost. That's been bothering me for the past couple of days, and I keep forgetting to pull it up. Sleesacks from the Dark Crystal. Oh, man. I haven't seen the Dark Crystal in, like, 25 years. Yeah, the Land of the Lost. I'm showing my age now. I thought it was from Lost in Space, the original Lost in Space, but the Land of the Lost, apparently. Oh, boy. Patriots Pride says the White House is the land of the lost. You ain't kidding on that. Lizard people, yeah, maybe they were trying to tell us something back in the day, Warlord TV. They all slee stacks. Alright, well, let me see here. Captain Coral, a missile system was spotted opposite of Moscow's uh, stadium where Putin is expected to speak today as part of a patriotic rally. Moscow's ready to go. They got stuff on rooftops ready to go. They've got, I don't know. I see the red light too, Alan. I have no idea. Maybe they're screenshotting everything. I don't really care. But yeah, they got it on rooftops throughout Moscow and stuff. And their air force is ready to go. So I don't think they're worried too much about it. Um, but I think the biggest fear for Putin right now would be not that he's not done enough because he has done a lot on his own, but to be blamed for a false flag. Um, I really that's what I see happening very soon. NATO needs people, they need boots on the ground, to throw into the meat grinder. Um, They're gonna need a false flag. They can't. How else can you sell this? Hey, 20-something-year-old, 30-something-year-old in the United States. Hey, you at Starbucks, son, sitting there drinking that frappe. We need you over in Ukraine in the meat grinder. How else are you gonna sell that to these people? You need a false flag, and you need to get people angry, really, really angry at Russia before that's going to happen, before people sign up willingly. And I made this comment the other morning. I said, I'm not going over there to fight. And people are like, you're unpatriotic. You mean you wouldn't fight for your country and stuff? I've gotten several of those comments. And it's not it's it's not that I'm unpatriotic. It's not that I wouldn't fight for this country. I'm just not going to fight for Ukraine. I'm not going to fight in Europe to settle somebody else's score over there. I'm not gonna fight a banker's war between the BRICS system and the SWIFT system. I wouldn't put here for that. I'd rather be here protecting my family. North Koreans start parachuting out of the sky here, then it's on. I have no problem doing that. But, signing up, getting deployed, "Hey, here's a $10,000 sign-on bonus. Good luck." And they hand you no, I'm not interested in that, and that's the point I was trying to make the other morning. If they institute a draft, I'm not gonna run. I'm not gonna draft dodge to Canada or whatever. This is my country. I'm not running from it, but I'm not going to Europe. I'll just say, "Throw me in jail," you know? You can let me out later on or whatever, and I'll sit in jail and write a book on how y'all are dirty and twisted, man. But anyway, God bless y'all. Again, the backup channel is linked down below. I'm gonna be dropping a video over there later. It's not prepping related stuff over there, but I'll explain that if you're interested. Until tomorrow, y'all take care and God bless.